Hi, good day. Welcome to the course, The South African Financial System. By now, you would have read through all the study outcomes, so you should have some kind of idea what this course is all about. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to give you a brief introduction to what we're going to do in this course, and then I am going to give you an overview of the different study unit. So let's see. This course is about one of the resources that we have in the economy, and maybe one of the most important ones, which is capital. So it's about how capital as a resource is going to be allocated. And this is done with the help of the financial system. So we are going to look at capital and how it's allocated and all the different parts of the financial system that helps to allocate capital in the most effective way. So let's see. In our economy, we have surplus units and we have deficit units. Surplus units would be those units where the income exceeds the expenditure. Where deficit units will be those where expenditure will exceed income. Right, so we can see that this extra income that's available from the surplus units in the form of savings usually, it will be helpful if that can be transferred to the deficit units so that they can use those funds. So that is the purpose of the financial system. Now, in the financial system, we have several. Let's just make a block here. This is now going to represent the financial system. Now, the financial system will consist of different institutions, and it will consist of different markets. And in these markets, there is going to be financial instruments that are going to trade. And we're going to cover all of these in this course. Right, so the problem with deficit and surplus units is that they have different needs. A surplus unit, if you have extra savings, if you have funds that you've saved, you want to know that you have access to those funds. We say that you want your funds to be liquid. The deficit units, on the other hand, they will usually want to borrow funds for quite a long time. Let's say it's a mine and the mine is erecting new shaft somewhere. It's going to be a long time before they're going to gain income from it. So they want to have more long-term loans. Surplus units also want to put their funds where they know there will be very little risk involved. So they want the least risk that is possible. Whereas deficit units will usually have to take risks. If you're a business person, you have to take risks. Right, so the purpose of the financial system is to reconcile the needs of the deficit units and the surplus units. And we're going to teach you how they do that. Now, in study unit 1, we're going to provide you an overview of all of the components that the financial system consists of. So study unit 1 is going to be about all the jargon that we use in the financial system. You're going to see in this course there's going to be, if you've never been involved with the financial markets or a financial institution, there's going to be lots of jargon that's going to be very unfamiliar to you. But that is what this is about. If you're going to work in these markets or if you're going to participate in one way or another, you're going to have to know this jargon. So you must concentrate on picking up these new words. Right, so study unit 1 is going to provide you with an overview of the whole financial system so that you know where everything will fit in. Then in study unit 2, we're going to start looking at the institutions. So in study unit 2, we're going to look at banks, and we're going to look at the Reserve Bank. Then in study unit 3, we're going to cover all the other financial institutions. So all the other institutions, and these will include insurers, short-term as well as long-term insurers. It will include retirement funds, and it will look at investment institutions. Right. Then there are some sectors of the economy that will not be served by these formal institutions, and they will be served by the microfinance institutions. These will include, for instance, stockfiles and microlenders. Right, so all of these other financial institutions are going to be covered in study unit 3. Then in study unit 4, we're going to introduce you to the markets and instruments, but mostly we're going to do the calculations that you need to be able to do for this course. So study unit 4 is going to be about the different calculations. And then in study unit 5, we're going to look at the different markets and instruments, and we're going to apply these calculations. So we're going to look at the money market, the capital market, we're going to look at the derivatives market very briefly. We're going to look at the foreign exchange market, and then we're also briefly going to look at the commodities market. Right, so this now provides you an overview of the whole course. So you can see it consists of 5 study units. You're going to do the banks and the Reserve Bank, know exactly how they work, what role they play in the economy. We're going to do the other financial institutions. Then we are going to look at the calculations that you need for this course. And then finally, we're going to apply those calculations, and we're going to look at all the different types of financial markets and the instruments traded in those markets.